The notification that appeared on your screen at 3:47 in the morning was not a technological glitch or random algorithmic misfire. When that banking alert illuminated your darkness with news of an unexpected deposit, something in the invisible architecture of reality recalibrated. What your physical mind interpreted as financial relief was simultaneously broadcasting a frequency into dimensions where entities you have never seen have been documenting your every energetic fluctuation since the day you were marked as chosen. This is the warfare intelligence that separates those who receive temporary blessings from those who access generational wealth streams, and most chosen ones die without ever understanding that the moment prosperity begins manifesting in their tangible world, they simultaneously become visible to monitoring frequencies that have been waiting in the shadows for exactly this activation moment. You need to understand something that will completely reframe how you perceive every financial breakthrough from this day forward. The transfer that arrived was not just money moving from one account to another. It was a spiritual test designed to reveal whether you have matured beyond the broadcasting frequency that has kept you locked in cycles of receiving and losing, manifesting and watching it dissolve, touching abundance, and then watching invisible hands steal it back before you could fully anchor it into your reality. The stranger who initiated that transfer, whether they consciously understood it or not, was functioning as an agent of divine intelligence, and the money itself carried encoded instructions that your spirit received, even if your conscious mind missed the briefing. Those instructions were simple but absolute in their requirement. Silence is your survival protocol, discretion is your defense system, and the moment you announce this blessing to the wrong frequency, you activate a permission structure that allows monitoring spirits to legally contest what was being transferred into your jurisdiction. The reason you are reading these words right now, in this precise moment of your journey, is because you have reached a threshold that most people in your bloodline never touched. You have been positioned at the gateway where provision transitions from survival rations to abundance overflow, where resources shift from barely enough to more than sufficient, where your assignment upgrades from local impact to territorial authority. But here is what the prosperity teachers who sell you vision boards and affirmation scripts will never tell you, because they themselves do not operate at the frequency where this intelligence becomes visible. Every elevation in the financial realm corresponds to an escalation in spiritual warfare, and the weapons deployed against chosen ones at this level are not the primitive attacks of poverty demons or lack spirits. That is why in the trilogy, The 3 Keys to a Prosperous Life, the link is in the pinned comment, I explain how monitoring entities operate through an intelligence network that makes human surveillance systems look elementary, because these forces do not need cameras or microphones or hacking software to track your breakthrough moments. They read the electromagnetic signature of your relief. They decode the vibrational frequency of your joy. They intercept the energetic transmission of your gratitude, and they use that data to calibrate interference patterns specifically engineered to short-circuit your manifestation momentum before you can fully integrate into your new wealth frequency. Let me take you into the mechanics of how this monitoring system actually functions, because until you can see the invisible infrastructure of the attack, you will keep experiencing the same pattern. Blessing arrives. You celebrate too loudly or tell the wrong person, and within 72 hours, something breaks. Someone betrays you, an unexpected expense appears, or the deal that seemed guaranteed mysteriously falls apart. You have probably lived this cycle so many times that you started believing you were cursed, or that God was playing games with you, dangling provision and then snatching it away. But that is not what is happening. What is happening is that you have been unknowingly broadcasting your breakthrough coordinates to enemy frequencies every single time. and they have been using your own words as legal permission to interrupt the transfer before it completes its full manifestation sequence. The narcissistic pattern that Archangel Michael warned you about operates on a harvesting economy that most chosen ones do not recognize until they have already been drained multiple times. Narcissistic entities, and I am talking about both the human vessels who carry this frequency and the demonic intelligences who animate them, cannot generate their own light, abundance, creativity, or breakthrough energy. They exist in a state of permanent internal bankruptcy, which is why they position themselves as energetic parasites in your proximity, waiting for you to announce a victory so they can immediately initiate their extraction protocols. The moment you tell someone carrying this frequency about your financial blessing, watch what happens in their face, and I mean really watch with the part of you that sees beyond the physical mask they are wearing. Their eyes will do something that lasts for maybe half a second, a micro-expression that flashes contempt before they catch themselves and paste on the congratulations smile. That eye movement is not just a human psychological response to envy. It is the demonic intelligence behind their frequency assessing threat level and calculating extraction strategy in real time. What happens in that half second reveals the entire warfare structure you are dealing with. When your announcement of financial breakthrough reaches their ears, their brain does not process celebration the way a normal human consciousness would. Instead, their amygdala, the ancient reptilian part of their brain that governs survival and dominance hierarchies, registers your success as a direct threat to their superiority illusion. This triggers a neurological cascade that most people never consciously recognize because it happens at speeds faster than conscious thought can track. Their nervous system floods with a cocktail of stress hormones. Their heart rate spikes, their breathing pattern changes even if they try to control it. And most importantly, their energetic field begins pulsing with a frequency that spiritual sensitives describe as feeling like invisible hooks reaching toward you, trying to latch onto your breakthrough energy and siphon it back into their deficit system. But here is where it gets deeper than psychology textbooks can explain, because what is happening in that moment is not just a human being feeling jealous. That narcissistic frequency they carry makes them an open portal, an unwitting channel for monitoring spirits who specialize in what I call frequency theft operations. These entities do not need your banking passwords or access to your financial accounts. They operate at a level that transcends physical security measures entirely. What they harvest is the vibrational signature of your joy in that moment, the electromagnetic frequency of your relief when you realized provision had arrived, the energetic blueprint of your breakthrough that your entire being broadcasts when you move from lack into overflow. They record that frequency signature, and then they deploy interference patterns specifically calibrated to disrupt your ability to maintain that new vibration long enough for the blessing to fully anchor into your three-dimensional reality. This is why people who post their blessings on social media or announce their breakthroughs at family gatherings or share their good news with co-workers almost always experience what they call bad luck within days or even hours of the announcement. They will suddenly receive a bill they forgot about. Their car will break down. A relationship will explode into conflict. Their body will manifest a health crisis. Or the deal that seemed guaranteed will mysteriously fall through at the last moment. They interpret this as coincidence, or as God testing them, or as the universe balancing energy, or whatever explanation their belief system provides. But it was not coincidence, and it was not God playing games. It was coordinated spiritual disruption executed through the envy portals you opened by broadcasting intel to enemy frequencies, and those frequencies used your own announcement as legal permission to file interference protocols in the spiritual courtroom where your destiny is being legislated. Think about it like this, and I need you to really sit with this comparison because it will rewire how you perceive spiritual warfare forever. Imagine you are in an actual physical war, and you have just received intelligence that reinforcements are coming with weapons and supplies. Would you immediately call the enemy commander and tell them exactly when the convoy is arriving, what route they are taking, and what they are carrying? Of course not, because that would be insane. You would maintain radio silence. You would use encrypted communications only with verified allies. You would implement security protocols to ensure the supplies reach you without enemy interception. But in the spiritual war, you are living whether you acknowledge it or not. Most chosen ones do the equivalent of broadcasting their supply convoy details on an open channel that every enemy frequency can monitor, and then they wonder why the provision gets attacked before it fully arrives. Your silence about the financial blessing is not about being secretive or deceptive or falsely humble. It is about understanding spiritual operational security at a level that most believers never reach because their teachers keep feeding them theology that sounds spiritual but has no practical warfare application. When Archangel Michael instructs you to tell no one when wealth arrives, he's teaching you the same protocol that was given to prophets and kings who had to carry the oil of anointing through hostile territory before they could step into their throne. He is teaching you that your mouth is a frequency broadcaster, and every word you speak about your blessing either reinforces the protective seal around it or creates legal permission for enemy forces to contest the transfer. The spiritual courtroom dimension is where the real battle over your financial breakthrough is happening. And most chosen ones do not even know this courtroom exists until they have lost multiple cases by default, because they did not understand the rules of engagement. In this invisible legislative chamber, every word you speak becomes evidence that can be used either for you or against you. When you announce a blessing before it has completed its full manifestation cycle, you create what spiritual legal experts call premature manifestation testimony. You are essentially standing before the court and declaring, "I have received this," even though the transfer is still in process. This gives adversarial forces a legal window to file challenges, citing your declaration as evidence that you broke the incubation seal and therefore forfeited the protection that was covering the blessing during its germination phase. Let me show you how this works through a parallel in the natural realm that will make the spiritual mechanics visible. When a seed is planted in soil, it must remain underground in total darkness to germinate properly. During this hidden phase, complex processes are happening beneath the surface that are absolutely essential for the plant's survival. The seed coat breaks open, the root system begins developing, the shoot prepares to push through the soil, and all of this requires the pressure of the earth, the moisture in the darkness, the unseen work that happens when nobody is watching. Now imagine if someone planted a seed and then dug it up every single day to show people and announce, "Look what I planted, look at this seed I have." What would happen? The constant exposure would interrupt the germination process, the roots would never develop properly, and the seed would never have the strength to break through to the surface and become what it was designed to become. Your financial breakthrough, when that first notification arrives, is in its germination phase, and it requires a sacred incubation period before it can fully manifest into stable, permanent abundance in your visible reality. This incubation period is not arbitrary. It is typically measured in lunar cycles or specific timestamp sequences that carry spiritual significance, usually 40 days, 90 days, or until you receive what I call triple confirmation signs that the transfer has completed and the anointing seal has fully locked into place. During this incubation window, monitoring spirits are legally permitted under spiritual jurisprudence to test the seal by sending people into your path who ask about your finances, creating opportunities that require you to prove your blessing by speaking about it or triggering sudden urges in your consciousness to post about your good fortune on social media, or share the news with people who have not earned access to your private victories. Every single time you resist the urge to speak during this testing period, you reinforce the anointing seal around your blessing. Every time you practice what Michael calls wealth stealth, you accumulate what I describe as spiritual compound interest, where the blessing does not just arrive at the amount that was originally designated, but actually multiplies in the silence, because you demonstrated that you value divine protocol over human validation. This is the difference between people who receive one-time blessings and people who access generational wealth streams. The one-time blessing recipients cannot hold the silence. They need immediate validation. They crave the dopamine hit of announcing their victory. They want people to know they are finally winning because their identity has been so tied to struggle that they cannot imagine being blessed without an audience to witness it. But generational wealth frequency carriers understand something that completely shifts the game. They understand that the blessing itself is secondary to the spiritual maturity test embedded within it. The money is not the main point. The main point is whether you have evolved beyond needing external validation for internal victories, whether you can receive the king's treasure without announcing it until the coronation day arrives, whether you have developed the spiritual discipline to carry oil without spilling it through your lips before you reach the anointing chamber. This is why so many chosen ones keep receiving and losing, manifesting and watching it dissolve, because they pass the faith test to believe for the blessing, but they fail the maturity test to steward it in silence until the divine timing releases them to speak. The dream you had 3 nights after that deposit appeared was not random, and I need you to understand that your subconscious mind and your spirit are receiving downloads and warnings that your conscious mind might be too busy or distracted to fully decode. In that dream, you were running, but you could not move forward, no matter how hard you pumped your legs or how desperately you tried to reach safety. The ground beneath you felt like thick mud, or maybe you were running through water, and there was something chasing you, something you could not quite see clearly, but you could feel its presence getting closer, and the terror in your chest was so real that you woke up with your heart pounding and your sheets soaked with sweat. You probably dismissed it as stress or anxiety or too much screen time before bed, but that dream was a direct message from your spiritual intelligence trying to show you what is happening in the invisible realm every time you announce a blessing to the wrong frequency. The sensation of running without moving forward is the spiritual representation of what happens when you broadcast your breakthrough before it is fully anchored. You are trying to advance into your destiny. You are putting in effort and energy, but invisible hands are holding you in place, preventing forward momentum because you opened portals through premature announcement that gave monitoring spirits legal access to create resistance around your movement. The entity chasing you in the dream was not a demon in the traditional horror movie sense. It was the personification of the narcissistic frequencies in your actual life, the people who smile in your face but carry envy in their hearts. The relatives who ask about your finances with false concern, but are actually gathering intelligence to gossip or to position themselves to extract from you. The co-workers who congratulate you, but immediately start subtle campaigns to undermine your credibility because your success makes them feel inadequate. These people do not consciously know they are being used as monitoring channels, which is what makes this warfare so insidious. They genuinely believe they are just being friendly or showing interest or caring about your well-being, but the frequency they carry makes them portals for entities whose entire assignment is to track chosen ones who are approaching breakthrough thresholds. When you told your sister about the deposit, or when you mentioned it to that friend you thought you could trust, or when you posted that vague but celebratory message on social media that people who know you would understand was about finances, you were not just sharing good news. You were activating a surveillance frequency that then used those people as relay stations to broadcast your new coordinates to spiritual intelligence networks that immediately began recalibrating their interference technology to match your elevated position. The poisoned compliment you received the day after you announced your blessing was not innocent, and I need you to develop the spiritual discernment to recognize how this weapon works, because it is one of the most effective tools in the narcissistic warfare arsenal. Someone who has been distant or cold toward you suddenly reached out with what sounded like praise, telling you how proud they are of you, or how they always knew you would make it, or how deserving you are of good things. On the surface, it felt affirming, maybe even healing, if you have been carrying wounds from their previous rejection or criticism. But watch what happened in your body when you received those words. Did you feel elevated and strengthened? Or did you feel a strange heaviness, a subtle drain, a discomfort you could not quite name? That compliment was laced with energetic poison because it came from a source that does not genuinely celebrate your elevation. What they were actually doing was something called covert extraction, where they use positive words as a hook to latch onto your breakthrough frequency and siphon energy back to their deficit system. The praise was not about honoring you. It was about positioning themselves in proximity to your new abundance frequency, so they could either directly ask for something later or passively drain your energy through continued contact that you now feel obligated to maintain because they were so nice to you. This is how narcissistic entities infiltrate your blessing, and if you do not recognize the tactic, you will find yourself suddenly surrounded by people who disappeared during your wilderness season, but who magically reappear the moment your harvest begins manifesting, and they will drain you before you even realize what happened. The copy you noticed last week was not flattery or coincidence or innocent inspiration. Someone in your proximity, whether in your physical environment or in your digital sphere, has been studying you with an intensity that would disturb you if you could see the extent of it. They have been monitoring your words, your style, your ideas, your creative expressions, your unique frequency signature, and they have begun replicating it as their own. Maybe they started dressing like you, or adopted your phrases, or launched a project that sounds suspiciously like the vision you shared with them in confidence, or suddenly developed interests that mirror yours exactly. You might have brushed it off as coincidence, or even felt flattered that someone admired you enough to imitate you. But that is not what is happening. What is happening is identity theft at a spiritual level, and it is always a sign that you carry something they want, but cannot generate from within themselves. Narcissistic frequencies are fundamentally parasitic, which means they survive by attaching to host systems and extracting resources, energy, ideas, and identity templates that they then present as their own. When you notice someone copying you, it means they have identified you as a carrier of something valuable, something anointed, something that generates light and attraction and provision. They cannot access that frequency from within their own being because their internal world is a void, so they externalize by becoming a mirror image of yours, hoping to trick the universe into sending them the blessings that were designated for you. This is why you must guard not just your financial information, but your vision, your creative downloads, your strategic plans, your spiritual insights, because every piece of intel you release to the wrong person becomes ammunition they can use to compete with your destiny. The sleep paralysis episode that happened exactly 3 days after you announced your blessing was not a medical condition or a neurological malfunction. You woke up in the middle of the night completely unable to move, aware of your surroundings, but trapped inside your own body, and there was a weight on your chest, a pressure so intense that you could barely breathe, and you knew with absolute certainty that something was in the room with you, even though you could not see it clearly. You might have tried to scream, but no sound came out. You might have tried to pray, but the words felt blocked in your throat, and the terror was so overwhelming that when you finally broke free and could move again, you were shaking and disoriented for hours afterward. Medical science will tell you this was just your brain waking up before your body. A mismatch in sleep cycles, nothing supernatural about it. But chosen ones know differently, because this experience is too consistent, too targeted, too precisely timed to break through moments to be random biology. Sleep paralysis in the chosen one experience is a direct spiritual attack deployed when you have accessed a new level of authority or provision that threatens the kingdom of darkness assignments against your destiny. The weight on your chest was not imaginary. It was a demonic force attempting to literally suffocate your breakthrough frequency while you were in a vulnerable state. They attack during sleep because your conscious defenses are lowered and your spirit is more exposed to dimensional warfare. The timing, always within 72 hours of a major announcement or blessing, reveals this is not random. It is a coordinated response to the fact that you broadcast your new coordinates by telling people about your blessing, and now the monitoring spirits know exactly where to direct their assault. The inability to speak or move during these episodes is designed to make you feel powerless, to convince you at a subconscious level that even though you have received a blessing, you are still too weak to protect it, too vulnerable to keep it, too exposed to maintain it. This is psychological warfare layered with spiritual assault. And if you do not understand the mechanics, you will internalize fear and doubt that then creates openings for continued attacks. But here is what changes everything. The attack itself confirms that your blessing is real and significant enough that the enemy had to deploy this level of resources to try to intimidate you into releasing it back into the void through fear and discouragement. The light bulb that burnt out in your bedroom the same day you received the deposit was not a coincidence or normal wear and tear. Chosen ones who have been walking this path long enough start recognizing the pattern of electrical interference that consistently accompanies spiritual warfare around financial breakthroughs. Light bulbs blowing out, electronics malfunctioning, Wi-Fi disconnecting randomly, phones freezing or battery draining inexplicably, appliances breaking down suddenly. These are all signs of demonic presence attempting to disrupt the electromagnetic frequency in your environment. The reason this happens around money blessings specifically is because abundance carries a light frequency, and demonic entities are fundamentally creatures of darkness who experience pain in the presence of increased light. When that deposit hit your account, your entire energetic field began emitting a different frequency, a brighter vibration that was literally painful to the monitoring spirits that have been assigned to keep you locked in lack. They cannot directly reverse the blessing because it came through a divine channel and carries a protective seal, but they can manipulate the physical environment around you to create chaos, confusion, and the illusion that nothing has really changed. This is why so many chosen ones receive financial breakthroughs, but then immediately experience everything around them seeming to fall apart, and they end up spending the blessing on emergencies or repairs or unexpected crises that suddenly manifest out of nowhere. It was not bad luck. It was coordinated interference designed to extract the blessing before you could use it for its intended purpose, which is always to fund your next level assignment. The silence that fell over the room when you walked in last Thursday was not paranoia or social awkwardness. You entered a space where people were gathered, maybe family or co-workers or church members, and the moment you appeared, the conversation that had been flowing freely suddenly stopped, creating that weird tension where you know they were talking about you, but they would never admit it. You could feel eyes on you that quickly looked away when you tried to make eye contact. You could sense the shift in energy that felt hostile or at minimum uncomfortable, and you probably questioned whether you were being too sensitive or reading too much into things. But your spirit was reading the room correctly, because what you walked into was the aftermath of verbal witchcraft, where people were speaking against you in your absence, agreeing together on a narrative about you that is designed to limit your expansion or justify their envy or set up future betrayal. This is how covenants form against chosen ones, through the seemingly innocent act of gossip and complaint disguised as concern. When two or more people agree together about anything, they create a spiritual agreement that has legal weight in the invisible realm. If they are agreeing about your promotion, celebrating your breakthrough, speaking life over your destiny, they are functioning as intercessors who strengthen the anointing around you. But if they are agreeing about their jealousy, critiquing your success, finding reasons why you do not deserve what you have received, questioning whether your blessing is even legitimate, they are functioning as witches who are forming a curse structure around you, even if they would never identify themselves with that word, because they go to church every Sunday. The demonic forces in that room knew you were coming.